Hi, welcome to my channel. If you're new here, I'm Raksha, a fine artist from Bangalore, India. I document my journey to becoming a successful artist here. So if you want to learn about art and understand art better and want to know what it's like to be an artist, please subscribe to my channel. I really appreciate your support. So today I'm going to talk about a painting I recently completed, and it's about the Indian festival of lights called as Deepavali or Diwali. I'm from the South India, so here we call it as Deepavali. So I'm pretty late because I took a lot of time to do this, but here it is. I'm very curious about Vedic astrology, which is the ancient Indian astrology, and I've been watching a lot of videos on how things work and why things happen. And I mostly watch KRS channel, Eklavya Astrology, Lunar Astrology, and Dr. Arjun Pai Astrology channel. These four are the most brilliant astrologers I've come across on YouTube. So they explain things really well, and they're extremely knowledgeable in those fields. So whatever I know about astrology, I've learned from watching these channels. Now, I'm working on a series of artwork that explore the astrological aspect of different Indian traditions and festivals, so there will be more of this, including the astrological perspective to the religion of Sikhism. I read a very interesting article about Sikhism and the astrology of it, and it was a brilliant read. I'll be making a painting about it soon. Now, coming to the painting, it's about Deepavali, the Hindu festival of lights, and it is celebrated on the 15th day in the month of Kartika, which is a month in the Hindu calendar. And it is celebrated when the sun and the new moon are together in the sign of Libra. And this time I observed that they both were in 15 degree of Libra. So, for those who don't know astrology, the sun represents the soul, ego, our self-confidence. It represents father, the government, authority figures, and other things. And Libra is the seventh zodiac sign, which represents union between people. It represents the masses. It represents business partnership, marriage, and art, and among other things. It represents a lot of things, and these are some of the things that it does. And when sun enters Libra, its powers gets weakened up to the first 10 degrees of Libra. So each zodiac sign is divided into 30 degrees. So 30 degree of 12 zodiac sign will amount to 360 degrees. So Libra is 30 degrees like all other zodiac, and when sun enters Libra, it gets debilitated in the first 10 degrees. After that, it's simply in the sign of Libra. Now, when a planet gets debilitated in any zodiac sign, it means that the dignity of that planet is very low and the powers of the planet are very low, but that does not always mean a bad thing. Now, why is sun debilitated in Libra? The symbol of Libra is a weighing scale. Originally, it was represented by this weighing scale, which is used in market to, weigh the products and do business. Now, the sun also represents king or any royal figures. So, the king does things by ordering people in his court, right? But in the sign of Libra, the sign of partnership, business partnership, he has to do things by himself. Since the sign of Libra is symbolized by the weighing scale, which is used by merchants and people who do business, he has to go do the negotiations and the deals by himself. He has to go to the market in person and actually make deals. So how would a king feel if he has to do that? If a person with such a power and respect and authority has to do such a trivial task by himself, he would feel out of place. And I think that's one of the reasons why sun is debilitated. Now, this is a North Indian chart, the original chart of the zodiac belt. This is the first house, second house, third house, fourth house, fifth house, and so on, all the 12 houses with the original zodiac starting from the Aries. Now, Aries is the first zodiac sign because it is the sign where the sun has its power the most. The sun is exalted here, which means the strength is at its highest in Aries. And also the sun rises in east. So Aries is the east direction. Now, directly opposite of Aries is Libra, the seventh house. Libra is the seventh zodiac sign. So if Aries is east, Libra directly opposite to Aries becomes the west direction, and sun sets in the west. So the light of the sun is at the lowest in the west direction. After the sunset, it's just darkness. So I guess this is one of the reasons why it's considered the darkest night, because Libra is the west and the dignity of the sun is very low in Libra. And then we have moon along with the sign in the sign of Libra. Now, moon in astrology represents our mind, emotions, mother, the divine feminine, the goddess, the Shakti, and other things. Now, when it comes to Vedic astrology, there is something called as nakshatra, which is the lunar mansion, the 27 lunar mansion. And this particular constellation you see here is the nakshatra of Swati, particularly this green star. Swati Nakshatra comes in the sign of Libra, and it ranges from 6-degree Libra to 20-degree Libra. And Swati Nakshatra is the nakshatra that represents the independence, the freedom, and it's represented by a sapling, a small plant growing. And those who are born under the nakshatra of Swati are known to be very independent and crave for freedom and isolation. Because I saw in one of KRS channel's video where he said that in the space where the Swati Nakshatra is, I think it's called Arcturus in English. The Swati Nakshatra is known as the Arcturus star. So where that star is exists, there is just free space. It's like a void. There's not much in that space, so it's like a free space. So that nakshatra represents freedom and independence. If you see this entire constellation, it somewhat looks like 2 leaves and a stem, right? Because Swati Nakshatra, it's represented by a sapling. So you have the 2 luminaries, sun and moon, in the sign of Libra zodiac, precisely in the nakshatra of Swati. They are together at precisely 15 degree of Swati. So the soul and the mind, this is the mind and this is the soul. Their brilliance is very weak, and we illuminate them by lighting up the sky and lighting the earth all around. You can see some of the houses have the small lamps lit up on the compound walls. Some of the houses also they're decorated with LED lights. It's a very beautiful sight to see, like here. And you have people playing with fireworks and firecrackers. And some of the houses also are decorated with rangoli at the entrance. It's a geometric drawing made with stone powder. Traditionally it was done with rice powder, and they're said to attract wealth and prosperity. I'll get to that in a minute. So you have some people playing with firecrackers on the terrace. Some people actually do that. More fireworks. And it's not always the wealthy that gets to celebrate it. Even the lower class people or underprivileged people also celebrate. And they do their best to make their family happy even by putting a simple rangoli and cleaning up the space around. So you have the celebrations going on. All the fireworks. I used to love watching fireworks during Diwali, and I would watch them with my dad when I was younger. We would go up on the terrace and watch the sky light up with different fireworks. Now about the sun with the hand mudra, these are actually sun rays, and each of the sun ray is represented by a mudra. And mudra are hand gestures used in yoga and meditation. They are said to have healing powers because you are pressing on some acupuncture points on your fingers that stimulate your nervous system or certain parts of the body and heal different ailments. So these are all the mudras related to boosting self-confidence, our ego, the self-esteem, the power of concentration, and to gain knowledge, because the sun represents those things. So I drew mudras related to the qualities that the sun represents in us. And similarly, the new moon has rays too. The new moon also has influence. So the things that it represents, the mind, emotions, they are represented by the mudras. All these mudras are related to the healing of our mental health, for getting better concentration, for having better focus, and for having better mental health. I can name some. This is a Durga mudra, and this is a Ida mudra, which means Chandra mudra. And this is a Mukula mudra. It's there in both the sun and moon. And this mudra is said to balance all the 3 elements, the fire, air, and kapha, the vata, pitta, and kapha element in your body. Because the Libra is also the zodiac sign of balance. So there are some mudras where they're said to balance the energies in your body. It is said that on every Amavasya, which is no moon, the spiritual energies are very high. So any kind of worship to any deities are considered highly auspicious and beneficial to the progress of spiritual journey. Now, moon is a planet or a graha that moves very quickly around the zodiac belt. It takes around 1 or 2 days to complete each zodiac sign. So it's quickly moving towards the sign of Scorpio, and moon is debilitated in the sign of Scorpio. On the border are the stories associated with the festival of Diwali. On both the sides, we have some more stories here. Diwali actually starts with the festival of Dhanteras, which means the day of attracting wealth and health. But actually, Dhanteras is associated with the deity called as Dhanvantri, who is the god of health, Ayurveda, and healing. And in the olden days, our health was the most important wealth. If you ever went through something so terrible, like some sort of illness that took a very long time to heal, you would consider health as the most important thing, not even money. All the huge money comes before that, because if you don't have good health, how are you going to enjoy the wealth, right? So health was considered the most important form of wealth. So the festival begins with the celebration of Dhanteras. And Dhanvantri actually came from the ocean of milk. He emerged from the ocean of milk when the deities and asuras were churning the ocean. And he emerged from the ocean holding a pot of Amrit, the nectar of immortality. And it is with this Amrit that the deities regained their immortality. The day when Dhanvantri came out of the ocean is celebrated as the day of Dhanteras. And we pay tribute to this deity, and we pray to him to grant good health and wealth. And then along with him also emerged Lakshmi, the goddess of wealth. So this one time, Vishnu, one of the three main gods in Hindu tradition, was visiting earth, and Lakshmi, his consort, requested that she go with him. He agreed upon two conditions. One was that she could not look towards the south direction, and she could not be tempted by the earthly delights. And she agreed, and they visited earth. And when they came to earth, after a while, Lakshmi could not resist looking towards the south direction. And she just glanced towards the south direction, and she saw all these yellow marigold flowers, and she became so mesmerized by their beauty. And she plucked some, and she wore on her hair. And she also saw all this sugarcane field, and she enjoyed some sugarcane juice. And seeing all this, Vishnu became very upset, and he punished her for it. He told her to spend 12 years on earth working at a poor farmer's house. So then for the next 12 years, she worked on the field at a poor farmer's house, and whenever during her stay, the farmer became very wealthy because he has the goddess of wealth in his house. So obviously he became very wealthy. And after 12 years, Vishnu came back to take his consort back with him. And the farmer could not let go of the goddess. He wanted the wealth to go on. So Lakshmi, she could not stay with him, so she revealed her true form and told him that she would visit him every year and bless him with wealth and prosperity. And then the farmer agreed to let her go. And every year since then, he would clean his house, decorate it, and light up the house with these small lamps. So that is when the tradition of cleaning our homes and decorating them and lighting the surrounding with small lamps and lights became a tradition. It was a way to attract the goddess of wealth. And this is one of the stories associated with the tradition of Diwali. Another story is the story of a king whose 16-year-old son Hima was predicted by the astrologers. They told him that on the 4th day of his wedding, he would die from a snake bite. And to prevent this prediction from coming true, Hima's wife lit up the entrance of her home with small diyas, and she threw some gold coins in front of the house. And all night long, she did not let Hima sleep. She would tell stories and sing and kept him awake all night. And Yama, the god of death, he came in the form of snake. And he was so blinded by the light and all these gold coins, and he was very curious about what was going on. And he heard the voice of the wife singing and telling stories, and he was so enchanted by it that he just stayed there all night listening to her. And when the time of his death came, the time of Hima's death came, it was already daytime. So the time of his death had already passed, and the snake left without harming him. So his death was prevented. So during Deepavali, it is also said that by lighting these small lamps, we ward off any untimely death. It is also called as Yam Deep Dan, which means donating small lamp to the god of death, Yama. And there's the popular story of how Deepavali was celebrated. First, it was during the return of Ram, Sita, and Lakshmana after defeating the Asura king Ravan. And the people of Ayodhya celebrated his return by lighting up the village with lamps and light. And they danced, and it was a huge celebration that went on for 2 years. So Deepavali is also associated with his return to Ayodhya. And then the second day of Deepavali, known as Naraka Chaturdashi, is celebrated as the day when Sri Krishna killed the Asura Narakasura. Now, this is the story of Narakasura, who was so cruel and so greedy that he had looted many kingdoms, and he had also violated many women. He also abducted 16,000 virgin women and held them captive. He also stole Aditi, the mother of the sun god, her earrings, and had violated her. So, when Sri Krishna came to know of this, he and his first wife Satyabhama got on Garuda, which means the eagle, the vehicle of Sri Krishna, the eagle. They got on the eagle and flew to Narakasura's palace to defeat him. And long story short, it was Satyabhama who attempted first to kill Narakasura, because he had got a boon from one of the gods that he could only be killed by his mother, because he believed that no mother could kill her own son. But what he did not know was Satyabhama was also a form of Bhudevi, Mother Earth, and Narakasura was born to Mother Earth. So Satyabhama was sort of a mother to him, but he did not know that. So she shot an arrow towards him, which weakened him, and that's when Sri Krishna got his Sudarshan Chakra and killed him. And when Narakasura realized that Satyabhama was his mother, he asked for forgiveness and requested that his death be celebrated with lights instead, that his death be celebrated. And from that day onwards, the tradition of Naraka Chaturdashi started. So, people began celebrating his death with all the pomp and joy. And then after Deepavali, the 6th day, if I'm correct, is known as the Govardhan Puja. That is the day when Sri Krishna lifted the mountain, I don't know the name, with his little finger to protect his people from the torrential rain and flood. So all these stories are about overcoming evil with goodness, overcoming the darkness with light, and attracting wealth, health, and prosperity. Trees. I was very much inspired by miniature paintings, how they paint trees and all the botanical elements in it. And it was so much fun to do this. Such small details are definitely difficult to do, but I did have a lot of fun doing this. I also got wrist pain from doing so much details, so I had to take a lot of break in between. And you can see here there are 3 borders. One is gold and the 2 others are silver. Number 2 is associated with the moon, and silver is also associated with moon. So 2 silver lines for the moon, and number 1 is associated with the sun, which is also gold. So 1 gold border for the sun. So that's about it for today. I know there's not like a strong connection of astrology to the festival, the Deepavali. But there's a hint, and unless you know the basics of astrology, then the stories related to it, I guess you wouldn't really get it. And that is why I talk about my work here, so that you can understand them better and hopefully gain something out of it. So you can also follow me on my Instagram, Polychromic, to see my other artworks. I also do oil paintings and ink drawings. And there will be more of this. In the next video, I might talk about the festival of Sankranti with astrological aspects to it. And there will also be more, like I said, about Sikhism and other things. But perhaps that will take a lot of time doing it, because I have to research about it. And until then, you can watch my YouTube shorts for smaller videos where I just briefly explain my artwork. So please share the video and like it and comment what you thought about this. I'll see you next time. Bye. Thank you for watching.